guys, it's Luke here and welcome back to another video. Today is actually a very special video because as you can see, we have both my M140i and Golf R here at Turweston Airfield. I have hired this whole airfield for the day to put these two cars up against each other on a set of drag races to see which one comes out on top. Now, before we do get cracking, let's have a quick run round both cars just to familiarize you guys with kind of what they're running power-wise and everything like that. And then we'll get cracking with some drag races here at this runway. So as you've seen by that little teaser, there's some awesome footage that we have captured today. But before we get into the thick of things, the drag races, let's have a walk around both the cars, see what we're looking at, remind you guys kind of what we're running at the moment on each car, just so you can see the competition. Now we'll start with actually on paper, the faster car, the Golf R. It's a manual car, so that is the biggest downfall for this. Something a little bit different, but you guys know that drag race is not really where this car will be spending most of its time. 502 horsepower, 580 Newton meters of torque, mainly capped purely because of the manual and the high mileage. It's a stage 3 car. We've got Turbo Technics V5 big turbo and all the usual gubbins and upgrades which you'd expect. Big brakes, induction kit from our intercooler, the lot. So yeah, in short, 502 brake horsepower in the Golf and 580 Newton meters of torque. Over with the BMW M140i, just slightly underneath the 500 horsepower, 495 in this car, but the torque, 640 Newton meters. So the torque in this thing is so much more than what we've got in the Golf. And I think that is going to play into its favor, especially as we get through kind of second and third gear on the different races which we're doing. The plan in question actually with the races is to actually do 4 in total. What we're going to do is we're going to do 2 quarter-mile standing starts and 2 quarter-mile roll-ins from 40 mile an hour. So we get a little bit of variety. Unfortunately, we don't have enough runway to stretch into the half mile, although maybe we can do that somewhere down the line in the future. I am so excited to see kind of how this compares. Of course, I'm not driving both cars. I'll be in the Golf R, and a good friend of mine, Ben from Driving with Ben, will be driving the M140i. Going back to the M140i though, this car is a stage 2 plus car. It's meth injected, so we've got a 50-50 mix with the AEM water meth kit. It's running the standard turbo, but pretty much everything else has been done. The high pressure fuel pump, all the usual bits, induction kit, exhaust, everything you'd expect. Both cars have 6-pot big brake kits. We've got the Forge Motorsport 6-pot big brake kit on the Golf, and we have the Motec Performance 6-pot big brake kit on the M140i. So both are really up to the job, really. Now, like I said, with the Golf being at a disadvantage with the manual, in fact, both cars have one disadvantage and one advantage to their name. The Golf being manual, slower upshifts, arguably when I miss shift, that's bound to happen today, but it's all-wheel drive. So we've got manual, puts it down, all-wheel drive, big advantage, whereas the M140i is basically the direct opposite of that. We've still got one advantage to the car, being the ZF Auto, so we don't have to worry about manual shifts in this car, but it is rear-wheel drive, so it probably will be a little bit slower off the line. If the Golf was a DSG car, then that will probably be pretty much a winner straight away. But I think it's going to be really interesting to see how the differences really tie together, to see how similar they're going to be. But yeah, I am so excited for this. So I think what we're going to do, we'll get the cars over onto the runway, and I think we'll start off with the quarter-mile standing starts, see how that goes, then review things afterwards. And then once that's all done, we'll then move over to the 40-mile-an-hour quarter-mile roll-in race as well. Super excited for this. Let's get the cars over there and go have some fun. Right, lining up. Here we go, right up to the line. Bam, right. First off, quarter-mile standing start, me in the Golf, Ben in the M140.
Got Rob from VBOX, RaceLogic starting us off.
I'm ready.
Ready. 3, 2, 1, go. Early shift into second. Oh, great start. We've done him! We've done him! I think once Luke gets that start nailed in the Golf, he'll be alright. I thought the all-wheel drive would do better. I thought it really would.
We've had him.
Oh, slightly poor start. Oh, this is on.
No! No!
Come on! It's level!
Well, that's actually quite close now.
We're going to have him.
We're literally neck and neck.
Oh, that was a lot closer.
Wow, that is close.
I bogged down a bit at the start. Too much wheel spin in first, so we'll need to shift up a little bit earlier into second, I think.
Where he's got more torque, as you get through the gears, probably second, third upwards, that's when it just hooks up and goes. Okay, so now that the quarter-mile standing start races are complete, Ben in the 140 was victorious on both. Or one of them was a little bit close, wasn't it? A little bit close.
We won out on both.
We are, but of course, I don't think I've actually mentioned, we're actually joined today with Rob from VBOX. Now, of course, you guys should all be familiar with the Performance Box Touch, which I've had on some of my videos. We've had one in each car today so far, and we've got some data to look at. So I see that you've got the laptop all open here. Obviously, with the VBOX, you can record so much data, can't you, really, from different speeds and...
Yeah, I mean, with the Performance Box, we had it set to do 4 different tests. So the primary test was the half mile, sorry, quarter mile. We also had it set to record the 1/8 mile, and we looked at 0 to 60 and 30 to 70. But in the data, you look at whatever you wanted. You could look at 10 to 20 miles an hour if you really wanted. I pulled up the best runs that you both did 30 to 70 times in both cars, and they actually happened on the same run, coincidentally.
Okay.
So the Golf managed the best time of 3.55 seconds, 30 to 70, and the BMW managed it in 3 seconds flat. But the interesting thing is the cars are quite evenly matched, and you can see that on the graph until you get to the gear changes. And it's every time you make a gear change that it drops off and it gets away, but then you can see the line afterwards is pretty much parallel.
Yeah, that's
so it
true,
is all in the gear changes. And I also looked at it with the 0 to 60, and it was a similar story there. If anything, actually the Golf launched better and was faster. I think before your gear shift you were about 1 mile an hour quicker.
Oh, wow.
And by the time you completed the gear change you were about 3 miles an hour slower, and so that's where the BMW took it. It was all in the gear changes.
Very true. So we've now got this on screen now, so you can basically see how much the gear changes destroy the Golf's kind of data, really. Yeah, so actually your best times 0 to 60 were on slightly different runs, but I've called up the best for both, and the BMW did best time of 4.55 seconds 0 to 60, and the Golf did a best time of 5.32. But you can see the grey line here is the Golf, and this is what I was saying about you launched better than BMW and you kept your foot in, and the BMW was starting to close up on you, but just at the point in the gear shift you're about 1 mile an hour or so difference. Wow.
And then by the time you'd finished your gear change you can see how much of a flat line it is. The BMW is just out ahead.
It's gone.
And you start to peg him back a little bit, but then again your next gear change just drops you back further.
I did notice that towards the end of the run, actually, I was slightly gaining, slightly. If we had a half mile, it might be quite interesting, because I think it might be...
the fourth, you would definitely... I think we're both in fourth gear.
Both in fourth.
Clawing it back a little bit.
Definitely.
So if we had a half, it would have been...
That would be really interesting.
Very close.
Well, I guess...
the Golf had a DSG box, I think it'd be a different story.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
100%.
Well, I guess now that that's all done, we've got now the quarter mile rolling for 40.
On just the rolling.
So we'll stick it in second. Both in second, we get to the line, then floor it from there. And then once we've done that, we'll catch up again with Rob and have a look at the data. So we're going to do rolling now. We're going to be 40 miles an hour in second gear. So we're in manual, that's into second. Let's get up to near 40, there we go. And close, you know.
That was really close on the rolling. Goes to show we knew all along really, which is that it's all on the start. So once we're moving, it's much more competitive.
This is closer than what I thought. And it goes back to what I was saying, like, they both have one advantage to their name and one disadvantage. So this being all-wheel drive, massive advantage, but it's manual, so a massive disadvantage. And then it's basically the exact opposite for the BMW.
Photo finish.
Who won that? Who won that?
I couldn't tell who won that. That was super close. My eyes were level with Luke as we were staring at each other across the runway.
That was really close.
Who won?
I don't know. I don't know.
No idea.
Oh my goodness. That last race was so close.
Very close.
So
I could see like the whites of your eyes looking across.
I don't even know who won. But of course we have some data. So back with Rob. Got some data to kind of look through. Obviously this was the rolling races. So we were probably trapping a bit higher at the quarter mile, obviously, because we start at 40. But yeah, still very, very interesting.
I'm not surprised to hear you say it was close in reality, because it was really close in the data.
Okay.
We'll go with the BMW first, because that was obviously victorious in the 30 to 70s and 0 to 60s.
Okay, yeah.
And at the quarter mile flying finish, you had a best VMAX of 118.47 miles an hour. Okay. And with the Golf, the best VMAX as you crossed the quarter mile finish was 119.12 miles an hour. So less than half a mile an hour in it, basically.
But I trapped faster.
Yeah,
yeah.
But that's why I think it felt like you were gaining.
Yeah.
The Golf just towards the end of the kind of top of fourth gear.
Because yeah, fourth is a very long gear in the Golf.
Okay.
And so, well, I don't have to shift, do I? So I'm not losing any time there. But that's interesting. So if we had a half a mile, that may have been would have been right there.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is you need deeper pockets so you can have a half-mile runway and a DSG gearbox.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. If that car was a DSG, it would be a different story. Yeah. That without a doubt, like I mentioned earlier on in the video. But yeah, that's really interesting. And obviously having the performance box touch in both cars means that we can get all this data from each round. So awesome stuff. So there we are then. That is a wrap for this video. It's been so much fun to film this, honestly. To have both of these cars head to head going down the drag strip has been epic fun. But regardless, like I said, it has been an awesome day here. A big thank you to RaceLogic for coming on down and showing me all the different data which both cars have produced today. It's been really rather interesting. Obviously, like I said, both cars are very similar, but at the same time, very, very different. But of course, as you've seen, the 140 has been victorious. But I think given maybe a half-mile strip, I think the Golf would probably pip it to the post. But anyway, that is it for me today. I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you have, please do make sure you leave a like and make sure you subscribe for all the adventures still to come.